Shalom. This is Bishop Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. I want to start off by saying thank you to all of our Booster Club members for your many donations and much more, your prayers. We visited faraway countries and strange lands. We've even spoken to dignitaries and were detained for spreading the glorious gospel in Cuba. The truth is that the descendants of the 12 tribes of Israel were scattered throughout the world. Help us on our journey as we continue to raise up the nation of Israel. 12 tribes worldwide. Join or donate today. Shalom.
Hispanics and the so-called blacks. The Hispanics had us in captivity before the European, and they never was on the cargo ships that they call slave ships. They were never sold at the auction block. They were never hung on trees. And they were never on the plantation.
All right, so I'm going to prove you. And according to history, because this Bible is history too, and you're going to match it with the historical facts, that the Hispanics and the blacks will oppress and go through the same things. Right? First thing you have to understand, hold on, Papi, hold on, give me 2nd Ezra chapter, you know what I want. 2nd Ezra, right? Because I'm going to show you the Hispanics, which is the 10 tribes. I'm going to show you the 10 tribes, the Hispanics and the Native Americans. Who's the Hispanics? The Mexicans, the Cubans,
They were not slaves.
Argentina. I'm going to show you something. The professor here said that the Hispanics were not slaves. They were not slaves. That's what he said. No, right. They never went through slavery. Right. So no, he said there was not a part of the slave trade. So now we're going to read the history of the Hispanics and the Native Americans. And we're going to show you. Read. 2nd Ezra chapter 13 and verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes. The 10 tribes are these tribes that you see right here, brother. You see these tribes? These are the 10 tribes. That's what? Let me read them for you. Puerto Ricans. Right? You can read it, right? All right, Professor. You see, those are the 10 tribes. Read on. Which were carried away prisoners out of their own land. Were carried away prisoners. You know the reason why we start from Ephraim? Because you see the other 3 tribes? We were in Africa. We were the ones in Africa. But the 10 tribes is talking about these 10 tribes now. Right? They were carried, read it again. These are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king. So this is history in the time of Hosea the king at that time. Right? Now we're going to show you that these 10 tribes came to this side of the world first. To the west side of the world before anybody. Now everybody know that is straight historical facts. And we're going to read it in the Bible. Yes, read on. Whom Shalmaneser, the king of Assyria, led away captive. So they was enslaved in Assyria. We were conquered. Right, I understand. Yes, Professor, I do understand. And we get into the point. That was Assyria captivity. So after these times, we're coming up to the part that you're looking for. All right, come on. And he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. And so came they into another land. Read. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen. They came together and said, we're going to leave the multitude of the heathen on the east side of the world. Come on. And go forth into a further country. Into a further country, read. Where never mankind dwelt. Where no man used to live before. No. Read on.
that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land.
Their statutes, they understand that there was the Israelites. They had laws and commandments. That's why you see on the Native Americans, they have the fringes. That's Numbers 15:38. Even the Taínos, even the so-called Mexicans, when the Arawaks, they all had these proven.
They come from Africa.
Hold on, yes, listen, we getting to the point, right? Showing that what? They were Israelites, right? Come on.
Verse 43, and they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river.
So they entered into the Euphrates by the river, right? What are we bringing out here? We're bringing out how the Native Americans and the Hispanics came to this side of the world first, before all nations. But wait, Professor. Professor. When the Native Americans and the Hispanics came to this side of the world first, what happened, Professor? Because in school they told us, Professor, Christopher Columbus came and the conquistadors, and what they said happened? That they discovered America. What happened in that history? Professor, we're going to bring it out. Professor, they came and conquered, killed, and enslaved the Hispanics and the Native Americans. Professor, are you saying, Professor, because you are an educated man, are you saying in front of all these people that the conquistadors, the Christopher Columbus, they did not come and conquer Puerto Rico, Mexico, Guatemala, and all these tribes in slavery? Are you saying that, Professor?
Columbus got his fall at the Virgin Islands. He never got to America.
What is, Professor?
Okay. And he died in the dungeon.
Professor, you asked me a question. I'm bringing your question back again. Are you saying to these people that the conquistadors, Christopher Columbus, did not come and conquer the Puerto Ricans in Puerto Rico?
I said he never came to America. That's what I said. He never entered.
So he never came and conquered
America. He never hit American shore.
You see that? So now, Professor, everybody looking at you like you're crazy.
They can't.
Because
they need to go research. They need to go research and study. And you'll find out he never came to America. He got as far as the Virgin Islands.
Professor, I'm trying to listen. Who never came to America, Professor?
Columbus.
Columbus never came to America.
That's why it's called America. After America Vespucci, they named it.
Professor, so did Caucasians come to America and conquered the so-called Native Americans, which are our brothers? Yes? All right, exactly. So that's my point. They went to the America. They can't wait. Because the Native Americans, when the 10 tribes split up the land, the Native Americans said, we're going to take this part of the land. That's where the Native Americans was. The Puerto Ricans, the Ephraimites was in Puerto Rico. The Mexicans in Mexico, they had these lands. And what happened?
No, let me say this.
Continue this. Wait, let me finish this.
Puerto Ricans are made up from the Kerouac and the Indians and the Africans from Africa. The Puerto Ricans is about 700 years old. They were not.
So, Professor, as we just read, we read the history. We are reading right here the history of how the 10 tribes came on this side of the world, the 10 tribes of Israel. But what happened? Well, let's wait. We're going to finish it first before we move on. Come on.
For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half. And the same region is called Asarif.
So when you look up the history, Professor, because you're supposed to read it, we're going to get the history. We're going to find out what the land Asarif, what is it talking about. All right, so read that land. Wait, Professor, I'm going to give you a chance. All right, come on. The Jewish
Jewish Encyclopedia, Azareth, the name of the land beyond the great river, far away from the habitation of men, in which the 10 tribes of Israel...
Because no one dwelt on this side of the world. You agree, Professor? Read.
In which the 10 tribes of Israel will dwell, observing the laws of Moses until the time of restoration, according to 2 Ezra chapter 13, verse 45.
You see that?
Columbus identified America with this land.
What is right? Wait. Professor, it looked like you went doing enough homework. What the scholar said, Columbus did what?
Columbus identified America with this land.
That's how Columbus knew to come on this side of the world to conquer the Jews. The Jews.
America was not even called America when Columbus came. It wasn't even called America. So he could not.
Give me Deuteronomy 28:49. Because I don't understand how you could be a professor, man, and you do not. You are saying, hold on. I don't understand how you say you're a professor, and you say to me, Professor,
it was not called America.
Easy, Professor. One at a time. Let's do it. Listen, you say to me that the Caucasian, that nation, did not come and conquer.
I did not say that.
Oh, man.
No, I said that, and this is nothing against our Puerto Rican brothers. I said they weren't a part of the triangular trade, that they were never sold at the auction blocks, they were never on the cargo ships that are called slave ships. That's all I said.
My brother, even on different sides of the world, the so-called we were scattered in all nations, and they went through slavery as well. You understand? That's historical facts. You got to do a little more research, brother. Give me that.
Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 33. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah.
The children of Israel and the children of Judah. Who are the children of Israel in the Bible? Is talking about the 10 tribes. The Hispanics and the children of Judah will be the 3 tribes: Benjamin, Levi, and Judah. You understand? So what is God saying? Professor, it's a time to listen and it's a time to speak, Professor. I'm going to give you a time. Let me finish. What is God saying right here, Professor? Read it again.
Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together.
Oppressed together. Now, I got another question for you. Are not the Hispanics and Native Americans oppressed with us the same way, being oppressed? That's my question to you, Professor.
They were oppressed, but they were not oppressed with us as being a part of being on the plantations, being sold at the auction blocks. Our Puerto Rican brothers are our brothers, but they were not sold at the auction blocks.
I was listening to you this whole time. So now, the first thing you said was that the Hispanics, they did not come from Africa, or they were not in Africa before.
I said they were not a part of the triangular trade that came from Africa on the cargo ships they call slave ships.
Right. But you also said something about Africa. You said they're not associated with Africa, right?
I said they did not come from Africa.
They did not come from Africa.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the thing. I'm going to deal with that first, and I'm going to deal with everything else. Watch this. Look at this right here. This is a picture of the Aztec and the Mayan Empire. They had pyramids in the Aztec and Mayan in Mexico.
Yes,
how did they know how to build pyramids? Right. Because their ancestors were the same people in Egypt who built the pyramids in Africa.
That's right.
And what happened was, in the history,
what happened was
they ended up over here and they did the same thing.
The world.
Exactly. So that means they from that. Exactly. So that means they were from Africa originally, my brother. You understand? So that means they were from Africa originally.
No.
And they came over here and they built this.
No one is old as the African. The African go back millions of years. Other people do not go back.
Now you're going to the science. But we're not dealing with that. Now here's the thing. Look at this picture right here. Look at this map right here of the triangular trade. Somebody look that up.
You got right to this page.
Look at this map here of the triangular trade. These arrows are showing you where the cargo slave ships went. Right. It's showing you a cargo slave ship went to Ecuador in South America. Right. A cargo slave ship went to Cartagena, Venezuela.
We migrated all over the world.
South America. Where
we migrated all over the world.
So why are they going there?
But they didn't start from there. They didn't start from Africa.
And remember, it's a trade. So when the ships docked off, they didn't stay there. They went back to Europe. So meaning that they took people after they went in those lands back to Europe. Remember Pocahontas? Why do you think they made that movie in the Disney movie Pocahontas? Because there were slaves that were brought from the Americas to Europe. That's what it's saying. So the same thing happened. It was not just the black people. The Bible is indoctrination.
They were captive Africans. They were not slaves. That's something that's in our mind for inferiority.
27.
Watch this about the pyramids again.
Simon also built a monument upon the sepulchre of his father and his brethren, and raised it aloft to the site, with hewn stone behind and before. Moreover, he set up 7 pyramids, one against another. This was in the time of the Greeks. They built 7 pyramids in the time of the Greeks. That's the same people. So these are the ancestors of the people of the Israelites that were in Egypt.
The last major pyramids were built in 20 BC. The pyramids of Giza. That was the last. History, you can go on your phone.
I'm going to show you how you don't understand this. Do you know that the so-called Hispanics, do you know that they are black people? Do you know the reason why they look like Caucasians? That was because they were conquered and they were raped and all of that stuff. We're going to bring that out according to the Bible. You don't know the history of the Hispanics, brother. All right, read it.
Hosea chapter 7 verse 8. Ephraim, he hath mixed himself among the people.
Ephraim mixed himself among the people. When they got conquered, when the nation came against America and come against Puerto Rico, the conquistadors, you know you can't tell no Puerto Rican that. But what you are saying, you cannot say that to a Puerto Rican. They understand that the conquistadors conquered them. Is any Puerto Ricans or Mexican in the crowd? You can't say that to them.
Puerto Ricans have the right.
Okay, watch at this. Watch at this. Professor, look at this. What does Puerto Rico mean, Professor? It means part of riches. When the Ephraimites was over there, they had riches, diamonds, rubies, all these things. And what happened? The conquistadors conquered them. Right? That's what happened. But let's read.
Ephraim, he hath mixed himself among the people. Ephraim is a cake not turned.
He's a cake not turned, meaning when you don't turn the cake, you're going to see some of them light and some of them dark. Why? They mix amongst the heathen.
Strangers have devoured his strength.
What the Bible said about the Puerto Ricans?
Strangers have devoured his strength.
Strangers, who are the strangers? The other nations, brother. Strangers have devoured their strength. Strangers.
Part of our captivity.
Strangers have
a part of our captivity.
Brother.
I understand all what you're saying. I ain't not.
Yes, but you cannot say that to no Puerto Ricans, no Mexicans. They're gonna look at you like a madman. That's how they got conquered.
Puerto Ricans are
give me Deuteronomy 28 and give me 49.
They not trying
49 because you know what this brother doing. The brother saying that these things that happen. Why do you think they're in poverty today? The Puerto Ricans, the Mexicans. Why are they in poverty? Because they were conquered by the so-called white man, brother. And still is oppressed today. Come on. Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 49. Listen to this curse God said gonna happen to the children of. Okay, do you know that they are the children of Israel? Do you know that the Puerto Ricans are the children of Israel? Yes? Okay. He said yes. The brother said yes. He said yes, he knew that they are children of Israel. So listen to what God said gonna happen to the children of Israel.
Verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee.
God shall say what?
Shall bring a nation against thee.
So God sent the Caucasians, the conquistadors against the Hispanics, the Mexicans, the Puerto Ricans, Guatemala, Argentina, Cuba, Dominica, Venezuela, all the tribes of Israel. Understand that thing, brother. It's no history. Listen, Professor, this should...
They claim to be Israelite.
Professor, this is no history. You're supposed to know this. You should be ashamed of yourself, Professor. Come on.
The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth.
When they came from one side of the earth, they came from the east, they come to the west. As swift as the what?
As the eagle flieth.
God giving you a hint. The eagle. That's the nation that God sent
shall not understand.
How do the Hispanics know Spanish today, brother? That's Professor. How do the Hispanics know Spanish today? Because they were not speaking Spanish. You tell me that, Professor. Your chance to speak. You're from the who?
Spaniards.
From the Spaniards. Exactly. Well, who was the Spaniards? They were the conquerors.
Oh, yeah.
Conquerors, they conquered them and oppressed them.
Yeah.
Yes, brother.
I said they weren't oppressed. I just said they weren't a part of the struggle of the triangular trade that so-called black people were a part of.
But that's what we're reading.
Nothing against them.
No, that's what we're reading, Professor.
They weren't on the plantation.
Professor, Professor, you serious?
They weren't hung on trees. That's all I'm saying.
A nation of fierce countenance.
What you see here, Professor, the brother show you all of this. You can also, Professor, you think we drew this? We never drew this. That's why I said, Professor, you need to do a little more studying. We did not draw this. This is the Aztecs. Professor, have you ever heard about the Aztecs?
I've traveled.
Professor, have you ever heard about the Aztecs?
I just said that they weren't a part of our...
So what is this, Professor? What is this? This is history, Professor.
Everybody have had struggles. Everybody have been colonized.
Professor.
But they weren't a part of our colonization.
So what we proving, Professor, that what? The Hispanics been through the oppression the same way as the black man been in oppression. Understand that thing, brother. This is the tribes of Israel. God said it's going to happen, and it happened.
Ricans, black man.
They are Israelites. We're not calling them black. We're calling them God's chosen people. The Hispanics and Mexicans, the people from Venezuela, Cuba, Dominica, they are God's chosen people. Because they fit the curses that God said going to happen. Read it again for him. 49.
The Lord shall bring a nation against thee.
God said he's going to bring a nation against them. The nation came against them. And Professor saying no nation came against them. Come on.
The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth.
The nation was the eagle. The conquistadors conquered. They conquered the Hispanics wherever they were scattered. They was on this side of the world first. They was in Puerto Rico. They conquered them there. Mexico, Guatemala, Wales, Dominican. They conquered all the Hispanic tribe and the Native Americans.
That's right.
The white man conquered them. How you are a professor and you don't know that? Even if you don't believe in the Bible, you should know that. Come on.
As swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. Iuic has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission, minor murmuring, omitting and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold, from Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. Iuic, we deliver the truth.